before taking office as this President of the General Assembly. Even that time, comparatively, Pakistan was in good situation. And today, again, comparatively, the measures taken by the government is giving results. Of course, nothing is giving us a zero result. We don't have any incidents at all. But I think at this stage, whatever we can do to lower down the numbers and save our people is the important thing. And I have seen that Pakistan is doing this, and I'm very happy. The digital technologies harnessed to disperse emergency cash assistance prior to and during COVID-19 pandemic to 100 million of the most vulnerable citizens and small businesses demonstrate how developing countries can leapfrog into the digital era to support financial inclusion. This is essential as we recover, because digital is one of the key elements we now face. We're happy that digital was with us. We continued our meetings, discussions through digital possibilities, but we must also again look at the forest. In the United States, 42 million people doesn't have access to Wi-Fi. In the world, 800 million people doesn't have electricity, which is a clear indication that they don't have digital capacities as well. If we're talking about education, if we're talking about health facilities, if we're talking about improving the quality of business or improving the education capacities of our children, digital is the key word for the future. So indeed, the decade of action and delivery to implement the Sustainable Development Goals has become the decade of recovery. And this jeopardizes our progress, as even prior to the pandemic, we have not been reaching global targets on time. The United Nations as an institution cannot deliver the SDGs. It is the government policies and implementation of those policies that will lead to progress. I again availed this opportunity to commend Pakistan for its commitment to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. The political will and leadership of the Pakistani government on the establishment of parliamentary task forces on SDG implementation and its integration in Pakistani's Vision 2025 has been critical in translating the SDGs from policy to action. Large-scale climate change mitigation measures, such as the planting of 10 billion trees in the next 3 years, will have an enduring impact well past this decade of action to implement sustainable development. Pakistan has demonstrated consistent thought leadership in nature-based solutions to climate change, and I look forward to hearing of your plans as we look ahead towards COP in Glasgow. Indeed, we have a very good coincidence that the 3 Rio Conventions present a historic opportunity to galvanize synergies across the climate, biodiversity, and desertification, land degradation, and drought agendas. I trust that Pakistan will engage in the upcoming high-level dialogue on desertification, land degradation, and drought, which was postponed in light of the situation in Gaza, but it will take place in June. And we'll be very happy to have representation from Islamabad in New York as well. Of course, planetary health is but one aspect of sustainable development, where Pakistan is making gains towards the targets of the Sustainable Development Goals. I recently convened the high-level thematic debate on digital cooperation and connectivity. The debate also highlighted the Digital Cooperation Organization, of which Pakistan was a founding member. This initiative, bringing together 7 countries with 1.2 trillion in combined GDP and a combined population base close to 480 million, 80% of whom are under 35 years of age, is another example of Pakistan's pivotal role in South-South cooperation to create a future where no one is left behind. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan is ably represented in New York by His Excellency Minur Akram, Ambassador and Permanent Representative of Pakistan to the United Nations, but also the President of the Economic and Social Council for its 76th session. We have continuously worked and coordinated towards maintaining the ongoing cooperation between the two organs, the General Assembly and the ECOSOC, in order to enhance coherence and synergies across their respective works for the session. This has been most evident in sustainable development issues relating to infrastructure, countries in special situations, least developed countries, landlocked developing countries, and small island developing states, desertification, land degradation and drought, and financing for development. Ambassador Akram has consistently highlighted the necessity for private sector engagement on financing and the urgent response required for countries in significant debt distress. Pakistan is demonstrating leadership at the highest levels of multilateralism as one of the 5 heads of the principal organs of the United Nations. I also commend His Excellency Imran Khan, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, for highlighting the importance of ending illicit financial flows at the general debate earlier this year. For our best efforts to achieve the 2030 agenda will be derailed unless there is full financial transparency. It's critical that work to end all criminal activity, which jeopardize our efforts towards a safe, just and sustainable future, and I trust that the UN General Assembly Special Session Against Corruption, which will take place next week, will accelerate multilateral efforts to end the scourge hampering our progress towards 2030. In the same spirit, good efforts towards implementing the Sustainable Development Goals and maintaining peace will be undermined unless significant efforts are made to uphold the human rights of women and girls. If we are to create change, we need to move beyond rhetoric. We need to end gender-based violence for once and for all. Through stronger legislation against gender-based violence, reporting and redress mechanisms for victims, data collection, election observation, and violence monitoring, we will make progress. This will allow to facilitate the full, equal, and meaningful participation of women in society, the workforce, politics, and public life. Women bear brunt of conflict and their needs must be met. Women need to be included in all elements of peacekeeping and peace building. As an international gender champion myself, I firmly believe that the world must recommit to the Women, Peace and Security Agenda 20 years after its creation. Not only do women make a positive impact on peacekeeping environments, including supporting the role of women in building peace and protecting women's rights, in all fields of peacekeeping, women peacekeepers have proven that they can perform the same roles to the same standards and under the same difficult conditions as their male counterparts. Put simply, it is an operational imperative that we recruit and retain female peacekeepers. I commend the deployment of the first ever Pakistani female engagement team to South Kivu in the Democratic Republic of Congo. I thank these distinguished peacekeepers for their service to humanity. Indeed, I thank all of you who have served under the blue flag. You are the lifeblood of the United Nations. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege to address you here in the National Defense University, which has been the home of many Pakistanis peacekeeping personnel over the 6 decades since the first deployment to the UN peacekeeping operations in Congo. I applaud the 4,732 men and women currently serving in 9 UN peacekeeping operations around the world. And I commend the professionalism and dedication of the Pakistani military, police, and civilian personnel in these missions. Wearing the blue helmet, Pakistani peacekeepers are on the ground in some of the most dangerous missions in the world, putting their lives at risk to secure a better future for the most vulnerable people on this world. This scope and intensity of conflicts has changed dramatically since Pakistan first contributed troops in 1960. Today, we are seeking peace in an increasingly complex environment of parallel traditional and non-traditional threats, such as climate change, rapid technological developments, famine, infectious diseases, scarcity of water, and sanitation. To this end, I welcome the gains made advancing the Action for Peace initiative. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, from the moment I took office, my main concern and responsibility has been ensuring the uninterrupted and effective functioning of the General Assembly. Since the beginning of the 75th session, the General Assembly has held all mandated events and high-level meetings, sometimes in an innovative hybrid format, to allow virtual participation. This has been critical to ensuring the full implementation of mandates, enhancing dialogue and cohesion among member states, and guaranteeing the membership a strong, functional General Assembly that meets the challenges facing the notions of the world and the people we serve. I have now spent some time elaborating on my views of multilateralism. But if I had to sum it up in one sentence, I would have said this: I truly believe that the future of multilateralism lies in an agile, effective, and responsive General Assembly that is underpinned by political will to uphold the rights of everyone, everywhere. I thank you very much.
अक़वाम मुत्तहिदा की जनरल असम्बली के सदर वोल्कन बॉस्कर नेशनल डिफेंस यूनिवर्सिटी में इजहार ख्याल कर रहे थे। इस किताब में उनका कहना यह है कि इसराइली जारहियत से फ़लस्तीन में जानी नुकसान हुआ है। साथ ही साथ उन्होंने कोरोना के हवाले से भी बात की है। कहना उनका ये था कि कोरोना ने दुनिया में बड़े माशी मसाइल को जन्म दिया है, इससे अब दुनिया भर को मिलकर निमटना होगा। कश्मीर के हवाले से उन्होंने बात की। उन्होंने कहा कि उन्हें इस बात का पूरी तरह से इदराक है कि कश्मीर के मसले पर आम पाकिस्तानी क्या सोच और क्या जज्बात रखता है।
और नाज़रीन, अब खबरनामे का बाकायदा आगाज़ करेंगे। मैं हूँ आपके साथ अज़हर इकबाल बंगश।
मैं हूँ आसमा इकबाल। खबरों की तफसील में पहले आपको बताएं कि वज़ीर आज़म इमरान खान कहते हैं कि मदीने की रियासत दो बुनियादी उसूलों पर कायम हुई। पहला ये कि कानून सबके लिए बराबर होगा और दूसरा ये कि इंसानी तारीख की पहली फलाही रियासत थी।
मराकश की दारुल हुकूमत रब्बात में हज़रत मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की सीरत मुबारका पर आलमी कॉन्फ्रेंस से कलीदी खिताब में उन्होंने कहा कि इन दो उसूलों के बाइस 12 साल की कलील मुद्दत में उस वक्त की